Okay, accountants, it's up to you now. Um, Now, when we look at your job really is to make sure that you can be profitable. Now, keep in mind, and we've talked about this many times, it's not just about selling, it's about making sure you're selling to a level that you're making more money than you're spending to actually produce your product. So, when you're figuring out your job here, basically, you need to consider all the expenses that we have, both upfront expenses and then also expenses that are just going to be there for maintaining the business and helping it to run. With your job here, your job basically is to make a listing, and I'm going to go down here to tasks, is to make a listing of all the expenses that your business will have in order to run effectively. We're going to break it down into the three: land, labor, capital, but I'm going to break it down a little bit differently here, and I want you to think about two separate categories: upfront costs and monthly costs. I'll show you the columns here that we're going to use, and I'm going to change a little bit from what I originally had planned to do. Here's an example of what your sheet might look like at the end. Now, this is very simple, so you're going to have a little bit more than this. But I'd still want you to look at this here and get a general idea as to what I'm looking for. We have our monthly costs. These are things you have to pay for every month in order to make the business run effectively. You might include your ingredient costs, how much you think you'll spend on those per month, how much it's going to cost to pay your workers, how much you're going to have to pay in rent or for the mortgage of your building or whatever offices you have. Those are things to consider here. For me, I chose a restaurant in the Strip District. I found on this loopnet.com that this one Panera on Smallman Street was for sale, and essentially it was $100,000 per year, which breaks down to about $8,300 per month. So that's one expense that I have there that's a monthly expense. I said that I'd have to have 5 employees working at full time, and I'm creating a pizza shop here instead of my video business because that wouldn't really work well because I don't have there are very few costs at all associated with that. But 5 employees at all times being minimum wage, so I basically just figured out that it's going to be about $13,000 per month. If you look over here in this area, these are numbers that you can use, and I'll make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see it better. But if you're going to have one minimum wage employee working 12 hours a day, that'll cost you about $2,600 per month. 10 hours per day, one minimum wage employee, $2,150. 8 hours a day, $1,700. So you guys can get the whole gist of this. So let's say you want to have 3 10-hour-a-day minimum wage workers. You're going to be paying in the range of $6,450. So that'd be 3 that fits that category. Now, the other thing that you need to do here is figure out the startup costs. Now, your startup costs are going to be related to, well, everything that you have to get your restaurant outfitted and ready to go. Now that's going to include, for me, pizza ovens, commercial freezers, tables with chairs. What I did is I Google searched these things on the internet. For pizza ovens, I searched commercial pizza ovens for sale in Google, and I had a couple sources that I went to from there. Now I found that these huge pizza ovens, it was like a 7-door oven, I could get for $14,000 approximately. You might be able to find a better deal. You might be able to find other products you think are higher quality. Whatever you want is fine. I just want you to get the gist of looking at these prices and considering them in a realistic manner. 2 commercial freezers I included on here, 20 tables and 4 chairs, or with 4 chairs each. That's what I figured I could use in the restaurant. There's a lot of different things that you can look at with this. I mean, if you want to go in different details, you can look at other things too. I didn't include anything about the bathrooms, which maybe I should have. I didn't include lighting. I don't want you to include every single ticky-tacky thing. Like, don't talk about toilet paper in the bathroom because that'll get kind of absurd if you start doing that. But I do want you to consider a lot of the things that are going to be very important for this. When you're done here now, what I want you to do is this. Now, the upfront cost, that's just going to be the upfront cost. We'll leave that and say, okay, that's how much money you need to invest in your business, and that's good that you're recognizing that. I want you to look at the monthly cost that you have, though, and I want you to turn this into a little bit of a chart here. Now, here's what we can do, and I'm going to delete all of this stuff right here so that you can see what I'm doing here. Now, at the end of my monthly costs, I want you to put a space, and then I want you to retype the different factors of production right here. This will help us make it so that we have a more closely knit here chart. Now, the next thing you need to do is what's really cool about Excel, and the reason I wanted you to use it. You can actually use Excel to complete formulas, basically. So what I want you to do here is type equals sum, and sum being like addition, and then drag and highlight all of the items that fit in this category of land, labor, and capital. So you're basically like when you put in restaurant, you picked to put the number under land because that fits with the land, not the labor or capital. So you're going to put, and let me redo this because I kind of screwed it up here. We're going to drag down all of these, hit return, and it gives you a number. We're going to do the same exact thing next. Equals sum, and then we're going to drag this area, oops, I forgot to put the parentheses. And that tells you something about this program. You need to make sure you do this correctly. So equals sum, parentheses, then that, and hit enter. And then one more time, equals sum, parentheses, and drag it down. Now, I know I don't have anything, but I'm still doing it to prove a point. Then here's the next thing, and this is so simple, and this is what makes this so great. Let's highlight all these. We're going to go up here and choose charts. Go to pie chart, and let's do a 3D exploded pie chart. And voila, you can see where your expenses are as they relate to land, labor, and capital for your monthly costs. So what you potentially could do with this now, I'm going to get on the edge of the blue here so I can move it, is I can move it right up here, and now I've got a nice little monthly chart here telling me where my money is going. And that kind of clues you in a little bit too to say, you know what, maybe I need to look at where I'm spending my money and say, maybe I should do it differently. That's how we can go in here and we can create, first off, organize our land, labor, capital, and all of our expenses, and then create a chart. You can later use another trick, which is Command-Shift-4, to take a picture and upload it onto your wiki page.